dear Rose. I'm about to spill some tea. Some plus size tea.
Hello, listeners. It's me, dear Rose. Welcome to Plus Size Tea with me. Welcome. I'm going to wait for my panelists to come back in tonight. We have the part 2 of our episode on the Black race, why the fear of the Black race, part 2. And we had a very nice panel on Monday night, and they will be returning. So I'm just going to wait on them to come in one by one. And let's see here. Get back to my. For those of you that are just tuning in, if this is your first time, please like and subscribe and ring that bell so that you can know when I'm on. And for those that will be enjoying the replay, please do the same if you like the content so that you can know when I'm on. Please like, follow, share, ring the bell. All right. One of my panelists says they're trying to get in. Is the link not working for you, Natalie? Curtis, I'm going to bring you in. Let me see. Can I share? There you are, Curtis. Hello.
Hello, dear Rose. How are you?
How are you doing? All right.
Evening?
All right. Wonderful. Let me see. Can I put the link in the chat for? Okay, send the link to your guest. You also want to share instructions to your guest. Copy to clipboard. Okay, let me see. Can I put it in the chat? Yeah. Let's see if I can put the link in. I put the link in the chat for you, Natalie. Click on the link and it should bring you backstage. If you click on that link, it should bring you backstage. This may be her contacting me now. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see here. Sorry about the delay, people. So sorry. Curtis, how you doing tonight?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you, dear Rose?
Awesome. I'm great. Trying to get everybody in.
Okay. Time just flew by, huh?
Yes, it does. Time waits for no one.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to look into my junk mail. I found the link in my junk mail. You may have to tell her to look in her junk mail. Maybe that'll help.
Okay, let's see. She found the link earlier, so I don't know. It may not be work. Okay, here she is. She's trying to come in now.
Okay.
I see her.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Hello,
Natalie. Hello. You're here, but you don't have a photo, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you want to. Did you click on the one in your email or the one in the chat?
The one in the chat, because the email I have to set up. I have to send they said a code or something to my phone, or
did you have to set it? I don't know.
I didn't know I had to set. I didn't know that I had to set it up. I have to actually set it up and I didn't want to be late.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I didn't know if there was a setup process. So
Yeah. Let me see. Edit. Let me see.
there's no setup process. You just click the link and come on in. Mr. Brown, Pythias won't be able to make it tonight. I wish he
Okay.
had let me know earlier. He said he has to work, so that's fine. I'm waiting on Larry. I just told him to. He can join it through the. Or I could try to resend it to him again. Let me see.
I see a photo. Is that Natalie?
I see you squinting, brother.
I know. I'm trying to see that photo. Is that you? Is that you? That's you in the photo?
That's me.
All
Yes.
right. How are you? How are you this evening, sis?
I'm well. How are you?
All is well. All is well.
That's good.
Try to send it to Larry again.
And I see the old one.
All right. I just told him I sent him the link again, or he could either come to the um, page.
I hear some feedback from one of you all's mic. Sound like it's a TV or
So
something.
Natalie, if you are logged in on YouTube, cut your YouTube page off,
Okay.
and you can still see the broadcast. However, you're doing it, whatever device you have. So we're just waiting on Larry.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Hey? Oh, here he is. Okay, he's trying to come in. He'll be in just a moment. I can see him. Okay, there you are, Larry. I'm on now. Okay, there he is. Okay, there you are. We can't see you. Wait a minute. Maybe your picture come in. Wait. Add to stream. There we go. There he is. We see you now, Larry. Say something to see if we got your sound.
What up?
Okay, we
Y'all
can
got
hear you.
sound?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we got sound awesome. Again, welcome for those of you that are watching. Welcome to Plus Size Tea with Vera Rose. On my channel, I try to do bring you national news. I try to bring hot topics. But tonight we are discussing the plight of Black America, the fear of the Black race and why, part 2. Tonight, my panel members are Curtis Roundtree. He has a YouTube channel, Curtis Roundtree TV. You can find him in the description box. He also has a cooking show on YouTube He's also on Facebook and Instagram, and I will put again their information in the description box so that you can follow him. Also, we have Natalie Hunter. Desserts by Natalie is her forte. She's another great, awesome culinary art expertise. Let me stop. And I have her information in the
Okay.
description as well, where you can contact her after the show if you'd like to contact her. And then I have Larry Roundtree Jr. He has a YouTube channel also as well. L Boogie Speaks Too, and that's TOO. And I have put this information in the description. You can also contact him after the show if you like. Our other guest, Pythias Brown, is unable to come tonight, but you can see him in part one, and I also have his information in the description box. Okay, guys, welcome. For those of you that are tuning in, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can know when I'm on. And for the replay people, do the same if you like the content. I do thank you all for tuning in. I get mostly replays, but they said a play is a play. It doesn't matter if it's a replay or not.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started where we left off at. But I'll first let you all introduce yourself. I'll start at the top with Curtis, and we'll go to Natalie and then to Larry. And you can give your information now, and then you can do it again at the end of the broadcast. Okay, Curtis, introduce yourself to everyone and what your expertise are and how they can find you. Okay, Curtis is frozen.
Hello, dear Rose. Thanks once again for inviting me on your show. It's always a joy to come and grace your panel. My name is Curtis Roundtree. I am a content creator on a YouTube channel, Curtis Roundtree TV. You also can find me on Facebook, and I have a cooking show, and that is We in the Kitchen Again. My IG is I am Curtis Roundtree 1, and you also, like and follow me on Facebook, and my Twitter is Curtis R. And I'm just glad to be here.
Awesome, thank you, Natalie. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Natalie Hunter, and I am currently in Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, on the East Coast. I am a baker and caterer. I am Natalie Hunter on Facebook, Natalie Hunter Godboat, and on IG, I am Desserts by Natalie. It's awesome to be here with you guys, talking about relevant stuff here in 2021. Thank you for having me, Rose.
Great. Welcome. Always a pleasure. Larry?
Alrighty. The name of my show is The L Boogie Speaks 2 Show. You can find me on Facebook, Larry Lee Roundtree Jr., and on Twitter and Instagram, rlarry17. Thanks. My email is larryroundtreejr@gmail.com. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Let's get started. Last time we ran into 2 hours, which was good enough content. It's no way you could talk about this in like a 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I mean,
right.
The plight of Black America cannot be summed up in just a few minutes. It's so many aspects of talking about our culture, so many different reasons why we are who we are. Right? We're very complex culture, and one thing I do love about my culture, I love being Black 365 days a year, 25/8, as Mary J. Blige can say. I would not be any other race. I like my culture, even though we have our difficulties, we have our struggles, but I wouldn't be who I am today if I was not a Black woman. I'm proud to be a Black woman. I'm proud of my Black race. I'm proud of the progress that we're making, but I know that we can do better. Talking about the solutions doesn't always make things better, but at least we can discuss the topics that we know we need to improve on, and things like that. So that's what we're here for tonight. Who wants to open it up? I know we were supposed to be talking about the last 2 issues we had left was Dr. Francis
Cress
with
Welsing and
Chris Wilson, and then we also had the decline of white America. For the first time in history, there will be a decline in their population. We're going to talk about that as well. But I want, before we get to those two heavy subjects, I want to continue on a little bit of what we were talking about. We were talking about colorism. We were talking about even though Black people are prospering, and that the millennials and Generation Z have came together collectively to encourage our generation and the generation before us to be more proactive in, you know, the our current situation. And but some of us have forgotten the struggle. We have made it to millionaires and billionaires. We are on TV. We do have TV shows now. You can see people that look like us now on all social media platforms. We do own our own businesses now. We do. We are presidents of banks. We have been the president of the United States. There are first Black women that has done this and that. There are first Black men that has done this and that. But I believe while we have been progressing, we have yet forgotten the struggle. We some of us are forgetting to reach back, or some of us are forgetting to encourage our youth or our young people, or remind them of the struggle and how we got here to the point where white America is leaving out our history. They're trying to wipe out slavery from the future generations and making them think that, you know, everything's peachy keen now, it's all good. So that's my real reason for the the conversation on tonight. Anybody want to chime in? You may.
yeah, I wanted to pick up right where we left off in part one. The gentleman that's not on the show tonight, I think his name is Pythias. He had mentioned
Yes, Pythias Brown.
that that we shouldn't talk about solutions, but about participation. And I kind of wanted to address
Right.
the participation part because we're at a critical point, whereas we can't afford to wait for people to participate. On my last radio well, I would say podcast broadcast, I named it "Get Down or Lay Down." We're at the point now where you get down or you lay down. And when I say lay down, I don't necessarily mean die. I mean, it's to the point, it's so critical to the point where if you're not going to participate, if you're on the fence, if you can't choose a side, then you should sit on the sideline. Now, and this is just my opinion, what I think should happen is, and it's kind of happening already because of social media, is putting people out. It's airing people out, is letting people know quick where you stand. You know, some people think they can straddle the fence because it benefits them. But we're at the point now where you're going to have to choose a side. And if you're not going to choose a side, then be on the sideline. But what's not going to happen is, which is happening, you have people that work against our efforts, that look just like us. And I'm just going to say we need to begin to deal with them a certain way outside of ostracizing them and excommunicating them. You know what I'm saying? And I'll leave that. I'll use this. I'll use the show as an example. A movie. It's a movie called The Irishman, and y'all may have seen it.
The Irish,
Y'all
what
may have
Larry was
not
cut
seen it.
off. The Irish.
The
What was the name of the
Irishman.
movie you cut off? The
The
Irishman.
Irishman. Can you hear me? The
Yes.
Irishman. Okay. In the movie, you had a main character. The main characters were Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro played Jimmy Hoffa, and Joe Pesci played the Irishman, who actually kind of was next to him, was his friend, befriended him, and whatnot. So what happened was, you know, Jimmy Hoffa was the head of the Teamsters at that time. Teamsters was a powerful labor union, and he got in a bit of trouble,
Right.
you know, in some shenanigans with some money, and he ended up having to pull some time, right? So once he got out, he was very arrogant, because
Yeah.
he just thought, since he built the Teamsters to where it was, when he got out, he felt like he should, be in his rightful place, which is back to where he was before he went to jail. So he was clicked in with the mob. So the mob kind of like the new leader, and they kind of like the way things were going. But he refused to, he kept pushing to go back to being the head of the organization. So the mob came to the conclusion that, and they told him it is what it is, right? They said, Joe Pesci went back to him and said, look, man, it is what it is. Meaning that it is what it is. You go along with the way things are now, or you just get dealt with. And eventually he got dealt with. And as we all know, he was never found. So I'm saying that to say that, it's crucial to the point whereas it may come a point in time where we have to deal with some people a certain way. This is just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You kind of would like we in Rosemary we talked about last time, like we want full participation. That's not going to happen. Maybe a third, nice. But what shouldn't happen is, I think people, if they're not contribute, they can't contribute, or they don't want to contribute, they should just be quiet. And that's what I had to say about that. I just wanted to pick up from what the gentleman was saying, that
Right.
we shouldn't talk about solutions, but we should talk about participation. I think people should participate that are willing to. If you're not willing to, then you shouldn't hurt the efforts that we're trying to do. And that's all I have to say on that subject.
Awesome. Natalie?
Yes. Yes.
You have a
Are you
comment
po-
on Mhm.
are you posing a question? I'm trying to understand the question. Did you pose a question, or is this? Cause
We
see,
were
I
kind of
wasn't
like
on.
picking up. Well, I was trying to pick up from where we actually left off in part one, but
Uh-huh.
I think Rose wanted us to just make some opening remarks about,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, this is a different climate. It's in our culture, in our in the society now, with the youth. They think differently than we did, particularly through the civil rights movement, down through the 70s and the riots and so on and so forth. I don't know. I'm kind of on, brother, I'm kind of on the fence, not on the fence of whether we should be full participants or not, but the solution to the matter. You know,
Right.
I
Hmm.
don't think there's one
I don't.
solution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's one remedy. I don't think
Right.
it's so vast and
Right.
so complex and so integral. Even coming down through slavery, we have just so much to deal with. Psychologically, economically. You understand? Spiritually. Um, and I labor over this often.
Well, I understand. I think that's what it is with a lot of people. But I think that information has information, the proper information can ease a lot of people up. You know what I'm saying? If everyone is informed about what's going on, we're pretty much informed about what's going on. It's just that if you look at it from a point, whereas a lot of people have had, let's say we run it on the track. Now everybody usually start off at the start point, but in our case, the gun go off and we started like 5 or 6 seconds late. So you have people that's been in the race ahead of us for a period
Right,
of like 465 years, right?
right,
So something has to be done to rectify that. And on part one, we talked about reparations. We talked
right,
about how reparations could be used to straighten out a lot of things that's going on wrong with our community, economic wise, mental health wise. Because I mentioned mental health just like you did
Mm-hmm.
tonight. Mental health
Hmm.
wise,
Right.
in a lot of areas, that has to take place first because our labor and our bodies and our minds have been used to build America, and we have yet to be compensated for that. Along with being persecuted, murdered, and whatever
Right.
else. So once that's rectified and
True.
and that's taken care of, then we could begin to heal in a lot of ways. You know.
Well, let's look at this too. I mean, let's begin with the fundamentals, which is unity. We don't even have unity among our own culture, our own people. We still lack, we still crabs in a barrel,
Right.
you know.
That's part of the trauma. That's part of the trauma. See, like the gentleman was saying last night, he tried to make a correlation or a parallel
Hmm.
between black people killing each other and the police doing it. There's a difference. Those
Exactly.
are people clump them together as a cop out. So when they say, well, why would you hold policemen? Excuse me, why would you hold policemen responsible for murdering black people, but black on black crime is not murder, is not addressed. First of all, black they just started keeping black on black crime statistics, and before black on black crime statistics were being kept, they were killing and murdering us. That's one thing.
Yeah.
So let's get
But
that out of the
it's
way.
just not even black. Let me interject. It ain't just black on black crime. It's white on white crime,
Right.
Italian
That's
on
what.
Italian
Yeah,
crime,
yeah,
Spanish
yeah.
on Spanish crime, Chinese
Right.
on
But
Chinese
yeah,
crime.
yeah. But people use that as a cop out. Like you said, 80% of white people kill other white people. But they
Exactly.
use that. They use that. Our own people use it, and the other people use that. They use that as an excuse to not be held accountable for what they do. They use that saying that, well, y'all don't care about your own lives. Why should anybody else care?
Right.
But that's a cop out.
Exactly.
There's a cop out for the simple reason is what the way we're acting is a reason. Policemen are public servants. And the way they're acting the way they are for a reason because the system has been set up and to enable them to murder with impunity. So it's like comparing apples to oranges. But if you're not savvy in that, a lot of people false, yeah, you're right. But it's not right because we're suffering from trauma. Like I mentioned in episode 1,
Hmm.
they let us go.
Hmm.
They say y'all free, no kind of mental health. It's just like when they sent them cats in outer space and brought them back, they put them
Hmm.
in a room for a little while, and so they could so to make sure there wasn't nothing wrong with them. You know,
Right. Hmm.
yeah. Make sure their cognitive skills and everything. Make sure they catch the heebie-jeebies or not. That's paraphrasing. So you
Right.
can't keep a people in involuntary servitude and let them go and think it's not going to be a whole bunch of things wrong with us. So what is wrong with us? We have an issue with self-hatred,
That's right.
and that
Hmm.
stems from the fact that we're still suffering from trauma from being held in involuntary servitude.
Hmm.
So that and police brutality is those are not, you can't put them clump them together because
No.
they're separate subjects.
Right.
But
I
that
agree.
but that has to be dealt with. We still suffer from trauma, but we know that they're not going to give us what we are due voluntarily. But it doesn't help with us not being unified. That doesn't help. So
Exactly.
what I picked up off at was the gentleman was saying that we shouldn't talk about solutions. We should talk about participation. He was partly right, but we don't have time. We don't have another 50 years. You know what I'm saying? All of us have children, and a
Yeah.
few of y'all have
And
grandchildren.
Yeah.
grandchildren.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes,
And
yeah,
grand,
yeah.
great grand.
Rose, all y'all have grandkids. Yeah, matter of fact, all y'all have grandkids except for myself. My son, he only 22. But that has to be addressed because we don't have, because there'll be You know, when our grandchildren pretty soon, our grandchildren will be in our age group. You know, then it'll be our great grand. So we have to think about them, and it has to be kind of addressed. And we don't have time to wait to try to, you know, get people to do what they're supposed to do. If we could, like Rose says, we could get 30% or a third participation, which I think is reasonable, which I think is feasible, because you have you have the millennials, and then you have Generation Z that they're, you know, they're more progressive, and in turn we can learn from them, so we can be more progressive as well. But you still have that rank and file civil rights generation that refuse to leave the box. We can't worry about them. We just can't. We're not all going to be unified. And like I heard someone say before, 2/3 of us not going to make it. You know what I'm saying? We need to just be in the 1/3 and handle our business. And anybody else, they can do what they like as long as they're not trying to hinder us. If they're trying to hinder us, then they need to be dealt with a certain way.
Okay, finish your comment, Natalie.
You know, I'm just I'm thinking, you know, because um Larry, you know, he has a great point. His message is clear. However, I think that there is room for both. There is room for, we need the civil rights movement era still. We need the protesting in the streets. We need the accountability to those that are elected and our leaders. And we need we need the new age thinkers and those that are working within the rank and file as well. You know, we need both. I don't think we can cancel out either one. You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at one time I was actually thinking about not ever voting again. You know, because I hear so many theories and uh, you know, that our votes really don't count and, you know, is already set up and, you know, the powers that be, blah, blah, blah. But then the other side of me, I'm digressing for a moment. It's going to come together. The other side of me is saying, no, you know, they fought, you know, our forefathers, our those that have fought before us fought for our rights to be able to vote. People were killed, you know, people were maimed and, you know, whatever, whatever. So I have to exercise that right. And also as a citizen in these United States, you know, I've been on both sides. I've worked in grassroots. Uh, with Jesse Jackson ran for president '88. I was a part of that. Uh, I worked with People's Organization for Progress as well, grassroots organization. So I've been, you know, I've been involved in different ways, and then I've done nothing but pray. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like a lot of black folks do, you know. So, um,
Yep.
but I'm at the point now, panelists, is that uh, I want a better future for my grandchildren, my granddaughters,
Mm-hmm.
um, and for their children if they choose to have, you know, and for my nieces and my nephews, you know, and the way it's looking, all I see now basically for us is materialism, you know. Um, what is the word?
Gentrification.
Gentrification, you know,
Mm-hmm.
material, yes, materialism, you know. I don't, to me, I don't know, I don't really see, I see partly, you know, of course, with the crime, not the crime, with the police brutality. Of course, we saw the outrage of black people, you know, because we were tired of seeing our sons and our daughters killed in the streets and murdered by police. You feel me? You know, so I was, I don't know the word, I don't want to use joyful, but you know, to see people come together, to see us come together on a common cause, to be united again for something. You understand what I'm saying? And I know
Mm-hmm.
it is detrimental to us, but just to see united for something, and that's what I I I'm I would love to work for at this point in my life,
Right.
is to work for unity among our folk. You know what I'm saying? That we come for, we could be, we could do this together, but we still got the house Negro and the field Negro. We still, it's still, that mentality is still there. You better than, I got a little piece of car, your car better. I might got out of the hood, you didn't get out of the hood. I may be making six figures, you still make a minimum wage. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's still that separation. Um, it's still it's still prevalent. It's still there. You feel me? And that's the part that I would really love to be a part of, is somehow that we unify and we come together, um because we're black, because we are still suffering in this country. We're still the underclass. We still are not uh, equal to our white counterparts. Even in 2021, still, still prejudice, still hatred, still racism, and then we have to deal with that. Then we have to deal with our nonsense among our community. You feel me? So, something got to give. But I'm at the point of unifying. That's my thing. I just pray that it's some way that we could really, really unify. We could come together for a common cause. And I thank you, dear Rose, for this platform, because we need more platforms like this. You feel me? We
Uh,
need where we can discuss these matters.
yes.
Right. I just wanted
Curtis.
to
I'm
before
sorry, Larry.
Curtis start. Before Curtis start, I wanted to say that um we can't like the unity part. We can't
Mm-hmm.
approach it. We can't approach it the way we approached it the last 50 years.
Okay.
That's not because we don't have another 50 years. Now in the
Mm-hmm.
past, that we always had worked towards trying to get black people to do basically what other groups are already doing.
Yes.
But our people are
Okay.
hard headed for because we still suffer from trauma in the Willie
Right.
Lynch syndrome.
Right.
And
Right.
some people are indifferent. They just aren't going to do. So we can't. We don't have time to try to convince those. We don't have time. We don't have time to pull up the rear. We don't have time to deal with. I call slow people. They slow. After
Mm-hmm.
50 years, if people 50 years, that's a generation, and that's almost two generations. You know, generations 30 years plus 2 decades. So
Okay.
if we don't have time we don't have time to pull them along. We need to get all the like-minded people
Mm-hmm.
that we know of that want to make a change, and we need to go forward and do what we have to do. We can't we can't. Everybody's not gonna make it. Just like everybody didn't make it to the promised land. Like we discussed in part one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Two people made it. you know,
Right.
hopefully, a third of us, can make it to a point where we can pass it on a better life on to our children and our grandkids and our great grands. You know, I think that's feasible. But getting people that's are they just can't really make up their mind, or they feel like it's just not going to profit them. We don't have time. We don't have time for those. You know, like-minded people like ourselves, and it's a lot, including
Oh yeah.
the next generation.
Oh
We have
yeah.
to move
Mm-hmm.
forward.
Mm-hmm.
We, we have to move forward with what we have. We don't have enough 50 years to get them the other folks. We just don't. You know.
Okay.
So I understand. I want unity too.
That's true.
I was thinking just like I always thought about how you was thinking that. Yeah, I'll say
Mhm.
well, it would be nice, but it's right at this point it's not feasible, and we don't have another 50 years to wait. So we just gonna have to move forward with what we have. Go ahead, Kurt.
Curtis, I wanted
Well,
to,
one thing that I realized,
yeah, go ahead.
and I agree with both of you.
Kurt freezing again.
Were you saying something, Rose?
No, go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Kurt.
Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yeah, we got you now.
We can hear you now.
Okay, I said one thing I realized. Okay, one thing I realized, and I agree with the both of you, Natalie as well as Larry, on your points.
Mhm.
One thing I realized is that it's our mindset. And what I mean by that is pertaining to the solution as well as participation. According to your mindset, and many of us look towards politics as a solution. And I know we hope and pray that many things will be rectified through politics. And one thing is like reparations. We are still working towards being satisfied. Well, because some of us do feel that we have some type of reparations, just receiving anything from the government. Many of you may agree with that, but not like the
Mhm.
complete reparations if you include our ancestors and what we all been through.
Right.
But I don't think politics is going to solve any issues in our community and with our people. Now, when it comes
Right.
to
Mhm.
participation, like you said, Natalie, with unity, us
Mhm.
unifying and pulling together, that will solve many problems. And it also help us to be able to participate in many things that's already been said. Because there's some things that's been pretty much set in concrete that will not only help us to be more unified, but will help us to get over get over some of these humps that we are yet climbing.
Mhm.
You know, like Larry said about the we don't have 50 years. You're right, we don't have 50 years. And I don't think we always hope for the best, pray for the best, and prepare for the worst. Because we will hope that the world will see us and sympathize with us and be like, yeah, y'all, you know what? Y'all been going through for a long time. I tell you what, we're gonna, let us sit down or let us take the back seat. We're gonna push y'all up, push y'all ahead, give you what you need, give you the tools, give you the resources, whatever it's gonna take to make you feel equal, to make you feel reprimanded. I mean, uh, like we have been given the things that we deserve. Whatever word it is to better explain that.
Oh,
And but even with those things, we still gonna face and struggle with some issues in our community, like the Black Lives Matters. Let's look at that.
Mhm.
Many people felt like Black Lives Matters wasn't really getting the point across, so they came up with Black Lives Matters to Black Lives, because they were saying like,
Mm.
okay, we pointing at the cops about them taking our lives, but we not even thinking about our own people taking out, what I'm saying, black on black crime. So that's why they came up with the Black Lives Matter to Black Lives. Is to say, well, okay, you saying we've got this Black Lives movement and we're getting some things done, but yet though y'all pointing the finger back at us saying, well, listen, y'all ain't even saying what y'all about your own people. Who are y'all killing each other in your own communities? Y'all not kind of like pulling each other down, like the crab in the barrel effect. So they came up with the Black Lives Matter to Black Lives. It's to kind of like say that we see it, we feel the pain, we know it's happening, and we don't have a solution, but we do have something in place to kind of help us participate and move forward to getting some solutions. So I don't think politics will ever be a solution in our community, will ever be a solution to our people. will ever be a solution, period. It will benefit, we will continue and will benefit even in the future from whatever they feel like we deserve. I don't think that any president gonna come up and have a black agenda that we're gonna feel comfortable about.
Right.
That we're gonna all say, let's vote for this, vote this person in, so that we can get those things that we need. Because what's gonna happen is, even if we pay them, I'm talking about to go lobby for us, it's gonna always be someone in that environment or on Capitol Hill that's gonna outpay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Undercut us. I mean, well, why don't you? Okay, do you have a nonprofit? We're gonna support you with whatever you're doing for us to downsize, you know, or like say we may have 10 things that's in a bill or in some plans that's going to affect our community. What they would do is say, we'll give you 2 of the 10 and support your nonprofit and help the 5th ward or whatever. And so that way we're only getting 2 out of the 10. And that's what has been happening for years with the Jesse
we haven't been
Jacksons,
getting anything.
We haven't been getting anything. And the Al Sharptons, those that have been speaking on our behalf, and so forth and so on, that go not necessarily lobbying themselves, but have influence on the lobbyers, and we have those 10 things, and they'll be coming back with 2. And a prime example is not long ago with a bill that was just passed with the Asians and not passing the George Floyd bill.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like it was brand new, just surfaced, and they got in there and they got that bill passed. It's because some of them people's pockets was lined. And then we've been waiting for just this one. I mean, we had other bills and other laws and what have you to be passed, and it just never came because somebody came and undercut whoever we had lobbying for us.
We don't have lobby.
Paid them off or whatever, or gave them some interest. I'm just saying, you know,
Kurt,
that
we line up the vote. That's all we do.
If we ever had,
we line up the vote. That's all we do.
You know what I'm saying? The voting system. Yeah, even with the voting system, it's not gonna be to the point that we feel satisfied. So what they do is they pacify us. You all know that. There's many different ways that the government could pacify our communities. They give us Juneteenth. They say, okay, they're like that. They gave us Martin Luther King Jr. statue in D.C. Oh, you know what I'm saying? They're going to enjoy this. All right. We paint Black Lives Matters in the streets. It's right in your face. You can see that. I mean, you know what I mean? They gave us the boulevards, Martin Luther King boulevards, almost in every city that's predominantly Black. Give them that. Let them have that. I don't even go as far as to say, well, they allowed us to have a Black president, and you know, well, you got we gave you a Black president, but it's just enough just to pacify us, just enough just to make us sleep at night, so that they won't feel a threat. It's because, you know, they threatened and they intimidated by us, because that's what this whole show is about. I mean, you know, this panel is about. It's about the fear of the Black man or the Black, you know, people, and they do just enough that we can rest at night and we not getting up angry, so we can get up early in the morning, punch that clock, get up in the morning, punch that clock like we've been doing forever, doing that 9 to 5 for the, you know, the powers to be, because they receive something, they're getting something from it, and hoping and praying that we will not unify, which we already are majorities. We're not the minority anymore. We are actually the majority. Unify and become that force to be reckoned with sooner or later. It's going to happen anyway. I'm just saying. They just hoping and praying that don't happen. And that's pretty much my thoughts on the solutions as well as participation.
Right. I want to pose this question to the panel. Do you all think that segregation was good for Black America?
I'll go first.
Okay.
No.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
It's the worst thing. It was the
Wait
worst
a
thing
minute,
that could have happened
Larry.
to us.
Larry, let me
Yes.
repeat it to Curtis. Let me repeat it to Curtis because he didn't hear the question. The question to the panel is, do you believe that segregation was good for Black America?
Segregation, not
Mm-hmm.
desegregation. Which one, Rose? The segregation or desegregation?
Do you believe it was good for us to be mixed amongst other cultures? They wanted to have
Oh, that's
rights. They
Segregated.
could go
desegregation.
to school.
That's desegregation.
Okay.
All right. Desegregation was the worst thing that happened to us. Desegregation. Because we got, because we wanted to, we left what we really had and we had an economic base to, so we could go to school with, eat at lunch counters with white people. Now, like I said before, the bigger picture, all right, they, like you had whites, you had the ignorant whites that couldn't see the bigger picture. They didn't want, they could see that in the long run that desegregation was going to benefit them more than us being segregated and on our own and strong economic wise, because everything is about money. America's about money. Us being able to go to a movie theater and sit next to a white person that hasn't done anything for us economic wise. It crippled us economic wise because we had our own movie theaters. Only thing that we needed was human
I
and
agree.
civil rights. Human and
Yep.
civil rights, meaning that if we would want to go to a lunch counter, we should. But we wanted we wanted to move everything over. You know, when we had our own economic base, and because that's what we suffer now from, lack of economics, because we can't employ our own people. If you look at these other groups, they can. Like when you go to a store that they own in your neighborhood, they had their folks up in there. And in some cases they hire black people. So we lost that. We had our own, like we had Tulsa, Oklahoma, Durham, North Carolina, Wilmington. We had our own economic base because they didn't want us next to them. But they didn't want us next to them, and at the same time, they didn't want us alone doing well. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know what? So I think it was a mistake. Brown versus Board of Education, what, 1954, all the way to this point, psychologists are still going to do the doll test in schools, and little black kids are still picking a white doll over the black doll. So what did it profit us? So you can move into a white neighborhood where they really don't want you. you know, so you can still go into some places to spend your money. They don't want you there. So we lost what we had to get what we wanted, which is hopefully to be accepted. You know, we use a white man as a benchmark to be equal with,
Right.
and that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't
Right.
want who? Why
But
we
it
pick them
shouldn't
to
be
be
though.
equal with? Why we pick? I want to be equal. We want to be equal with them. No, we don't have to be equal with them. We can stand alone and be
Right.
strong on our own, like all the other groups in America. We're the only
I agree.
group of
Exactly.
people. We are the only group of people that's trying to be equal with the white man. Everybody else come here.
Right.
They say they come here
Right.
to get rich. You know what I'm saying? And they get rich off of us. Now going back to Kurt was
On their
saying,
own
he was talking
strength.
about
That's right.
politics. Kurt,
Right.
when you were saying that politics that won't never profit us in a certain way, yes, you're right. If we get reparations, we won't need politics as much. See what I'm saying? The Asians don't vote. It's a lot of groups that come
Yeah.
here that's in our neighborhoods, like the Ethiopians, the Arabs. They don't, they ain't pushing the vote because they have an economic thing. Rose, what's going on? Are y'all still there?
What is going on? Yes.
Hello?
I don't
Oh,
know what's
okay. Cause
going
Yeah, just
on. Hold
blinked
on a
out for a
moment.
minute.
Yeah.
You back.
Okay, everybody's still there. Okay,
Okay.
so when you look at,
Oh,
we're still fighting the same battles from the 50s and 60s. You know what I'm saying?
I
That's why you
don't
got the older.
right.
That's
I don't
correct. That's why you got the older civil rights generation. All they still want to do is march. We that's not getting us
right.
nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna participate in politics, like I said the other day, you have to control your politics. So, say for instance, we do buy our politicians like everybody else. If they come back and we only get 2 of the 10 things that we wanted, at least we
Right.
got that. Right now we're getting 0 because we just standing in line voting and not paying. See what I'm saying? We get nothing. We get nothing now
Yeah.
because they take our vote for granted and they see
mhm.
us a certain way. Or we don't have to deal with them. We'll deal with them like we always have dealt with them because we're still doing what we've always have done. We have to do something different. We can't do what we've done the
Yeah.
last 50 years because we don't have, like I was explaining in that before, we don't have another 50 years. We don't. We don't have another 50 years. We don't have time to be trying to pick up stragglers. You know what I'm saying? We don't have time
Yes,
to. We don't have time. Time
right.
is of the essence. You know, so the
Yeah.
ones that ain't on board, they'll be
Mhm.
all right. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
we don't have time. Time is of the essence. We don't have another 25 years. We don't have another generation. 30 years is another generation. We don't have that time because if we don't do something, it's like in the 100 where you had King Xerxes, you had you had King Leonidas, and King Leonidas went to the council. They didn't want him to go to war. He was going to take 300 of his
Right.
best men with him. The name of the movie is 300. And he was talking there. He said, if we don't, they wanted him to wait. They didn't want him to go to war because they was getting money. You know what I'm saying? They was in it with Persia. Persia said, okay, we'll pay y'all, hit y'all off with some gold, and y'all let us oppress your people. Kind of like politicians do. So, um, King King Leonidas told them, he said, if we don't move, our people will be slaves or worse. Did they say it? Y'all seen the movie, right? The
Right.
300?
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
I've
said,
seen it.
our people will be slaves or worse if I don't take these 300 and we go out here and do something. That's where we are at now. Not the same circumstances, but that's their grade to that point where we do not have time for the ones who don't see what we see. You
Okay.
know what I'm
Curtis.
saying? We have to move.
Right.
So, but to get back to Rose's question, no, it was the worst thing. That's part of the reason why. That's part of the reason why we aren't, because you have black people, right? And the sad thing is, like, the benchmark is white people. You know what I'm saying? So we're moving to a white neighborhood and brag. Yeah,
Right. That's
I'm over
right.
here on so and so and so and so, and I'm the
Yeah.
only black over here. Who else
Uh-huh.
do that? Who else does that? What other people does that? Everybody else live together. The Mexicans live together.
That's right.
The Chinese live together. Have Chinatown. They got
That's right.
Yep.
Little Italy.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we are still trying to be equal with the white man.
Right. The Jewish as
Come
well.
on now. That's why
Exactly.
we on the bottom because our
Right.
our we're moving in the wrong direction.
Right.
We're okay. We're, like I said on the last episode. We're the ninth largest economy in the world. We're a $2 trillion economy.
Mhm.
We are a nation. We are a nation. We could be a
Mhm.
nation, but
Mhm.
we're not because we're trying to attain equalness with the white man.
Well,
Mhm.
Larry,
We
you
don't
got to
have
think.
time. That right
Larry,
there,
you got
we
to
don't
think
have
about
time
it.
for that. We don't have
Okay,
time for
Curtis.
that.
Okay, Curtis.
Larry,
Very Kurt.
Larry, you got to think about it. That speech that was made, and, and it's a popular quote. We shall overcome. Right
Right.
We
now,
don't have time for that.
it shouldn't be only one way to look at that. But people look at it two different ways. We
We
shall
won't have time.
overcome.
We
People
we be
thinking
overcoming nothing.
our people overcoming is being able to move to the white, predominantly white neighborhoods and say, look at me. I can get here too. Or look at me. I can have that same position. Or look at me. I could drive that BMW or make that $50,000 a year. They think that's what we shall overcome speech. You know, that's a conclusion.
That's why we can't wait for them.
They thinking
I know. That's what we can't wait for them. We can't.
Is overcoming.
We can't wait for them. And that overcome, that's old. That's old. Whatever is old, whatever is old we've been using the last 50 years, we can't use that anymore. It's old. We start singing, marching, praying, and all that. Pray and pass the ammunition.
I know, but listen to what I'm saying, though. Listen to what I'm saying, though. Because it was said that we will be holding hands.
Holding hands with who?
Being together and being.
Now we're talking about the speech, the King's speech. That was what was said was in the King's speech.
Not only am I
making
a point,
that's the what
was said.
That ain't the only speech he made, though.
Get out your feelings and understand what we're trying to say.
I'm not in my feelings. I'm going off fact. That's not the only speech he made. What about the speech he made about when they had the land grants that gave whites millions and millions of acres of land, and we need to go to DC to get our check? They show y'all that same "I Got a Dream" speech when King was going in a whole total another different direction when he was assassinated. He made more than one speech than the one at DC. We talking about white people on hands with black people and all that.
He made more than one speech. What I'm trying to tell you is that's what they grasp hold of. What Curtis is trying to say to you is that is the mentality from that generation that has been passed on. Let's be equal with them. It wasn't about self-sustaining us.
Okay, exactly. You're right. I get that.
Okay, that's what Curtis is trying to say.
Right, I understand. But you explaining. Yeah, y'all understand what you're explaining, but Kurt, we don't have time for that. We won't have time for them. We don't have time to make excuses for their shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not doing nothing for us in 2021.
Well, I think maybe somebody needs to go back and clarify it.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
They said in their ways. They said in their ways. They said in their ways.
They said in a way that they think is right. So now someone has to come back and re-educate those that still think in a non-progressive way.
So how long you think it's going to take?
There's no need for us to get angry at our culture because they still think of that way. They just need to progress to becoming self-sufficient.
You don't confuse anger with passion. I'm passionate. I'm not angry. I'm passionate. And we do not have time to go back and we don't have. We're going back. You understand? Instead of progressing, we regressing. You're regressing if you still got to go back and undo. You know, you can't go back. You can't change the people's mind. They've been thinking like that the last 50 years. You can't change their mind. You get some people. You know what I'm saying? A few. Well, Lord, that's all we know.
That's my point.
That's all we know. You know. And that's not getting us nowhere. Our grandchildren, we don't have time. We don't have now. 50 years ago, or 100 years ago, because we are not 50. 50 years ago, we was babies. You know what I'm saying? It ain't been that long ago if you think about it. 50 years ago, we were babies. So we don't have time. We don't have another 50 years. We don't have time because they looking for another Martin Luther King. That's not gonna happen. Because we don't need another Martin Luther King. We don't need a one leader that they can kill and the movement die.
That's right.
We don't need that. And that's what they're going to be looking for. Will someone else step up and this and that? We don't need that. We need it just like the millennials are doing it. We're gonna block off 20 because they blocked off I-20 here in Atlanta. And one traffic was backed up for about 100 miles. And they couldn't pick nobody out the crowd that was the leader that they could lock up. They had purity. Even Mayor Cassine Reed was like, well, who's the first thing to say, who's leading the move? Ain't nobody leading the move. Everybody lead the move. That's what we need. We can't go them old ways. They're looking for another Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? When he come back, he ain't coming back. When he come back, he ain't coming back to be for that. For you know what I'm saying? He come back for something else. You know, so we can't. That's all they know. It's just like I'm gonna give y'all a good example. Now you know Harriet Tubman, she carried a gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
With her when she was going to steal slaves.
Right.
How many people do you think she had to threaten to shoot to get them to come to freedom? Because if she had left them behind, they would have gave her up.
That's right.
She got to think
She,
deep about
she probably
situations.
shot a few jokers too.
She would never
Yeah, she
call.
probably killed some. She probably killed
She
some of
probably
them.
had a pop a nigga in the ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. You gonna be free, or I'm gonna leave you right here, but you won't. I'm not gonna leave you talking. It was not easy because she was going to to pick people with that were already slaved in their brains. Lord, oh there she is. I ain't
Right.
going. Oh yeah, you going. Oh yeah, you going because you not because they would have gave her up. So cause of they mind. So we free, but oftentimes a lot of people their mind's not free. We can't afford to be in this box right here no more, and we can't afford to go back.
Right.
We can't afford to go back and get them. We can't. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna give you up. You know what I'm saying? You know how to, you know. Oh, they trying they
We
trying
keep
to you
losing
know what I'm
that,
saying?
and
They're trying to be
then bring
free.
it back on.
Yeah, we can't. You know that's I'm just giving my opinion, but we can't. We
Right.
can't. You know, I wish we could. Cause you know what? If it could have been done, it would have been done long. It would have been done a long time ago. Look at all the leaders that done came before us and died. That 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 they gave their lives. But what did black people really change the way they do things? Malcolm was murdered. Did the people
Mm-hmm.
really change? No, because you didn't only have Dr. King, you had Malcolm X, you had Marcus Garvey, you had Elijah Muhammad.
Medgar
And then
Evers. Yeah.
then the days
Mm-hmm.
leaders that back then that were younger back then, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, before they sold out, before they got the bag. Now they get the bag. You know what I'm saying? You had them.
Right.
So you didn't have only Dr. King, you had people came behind Dr. King, and you had other leaders that were saying that y'all, if y'all control your politics, control your money. They've been saying that to them. They were telling not Pop, not they were telling Daddy Harry and Mama Mary that before when Pop and them were little. Hard headed. They would not listen. So if you think back in the 20s that they're not gonna change to the point and we don't have time for them. It's just like, okay, children of Israel. We can't wait. We can't wait. And that's just my opinion. I know everybody opinion varies or whatever. My thing is we move forward. Keep moving forward. And everybody ain't gonna make it. 2/3 of us not gonna make it. But before we pass off the earth, we have to do everything in our power to make sure generations after us, after we get and gone, that they not gonna have to live worse than we live it, because that's on the way if something
Right.
is not done. So we don't have time to go back and explain to the civil rights generation and the baby boomers that are older than us in their 60s and 70s what they need to do. You know what
Okay,
I'm saying? I listen to how Pop talk. I was there.
okay.
I was like,
Larry, let's pass it on. Torch on
okay, go
Natalie.
ahead
What do
on.
you have for the desegregation comment?
Go ahead on, next.
Um, I agree that it didn't help. It didn't help us. And just to piggyback off Larry, that Dr. King, before they killed him, he began his view changed as well as Malcolm X. They both began to see something very, very different. And Dr. King, he was beginning to
Right.
become, I think, a revolutionary.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and
Yep.
especially dealing with the
Right.
Vietnam War. When he started speaking out against the war, that's when he became a problem. As long as he was a house nigga and we shall overcome and
Mm-hmm.
kumbaya,
Yep.
he was fine. But
Yep.
when he wanted to go up against the system and the powers that be, that's
Here
when
Right.
he
we go.
became a threat. And that should be our cue. That should be our cue. We ain't doing nothing. We ain't doing
Right.
nothing. Because as
Doing
long as
that.
we feel like, oh, we got that good job, you feel me? We could shop in the stores, we could drive this car, we could live in this neighborhood. We feel like that we have arrived, but we haven't arrived, because I do look at, just like here in Newark, we have the Ironbound section where the Portuguese live, um,
Mm.
some Italians, some Cubans, and they thrive. They have their own little area. I mean, and I love shopping down here. They live well. But us, we don't want to live with each
Right.
other. Just like I have some people that come, I ain't going to name no names. They may come to the area I live in,
Go ahead and name them. Go ahead,
and
tell them.
the panelist that was on,
Uh,
he would say, when you going to get out this neighborhood, when you going, and I'm looking like,
Oh,
ninja. I live in a nice. I live in a nice
Right,
bit.
right.
I like where I live. You understand? Why is it that I have to move outside of my neighbor, of my people, to feel like
there
I'm
you
living
go.
well?
There you go.
I beg to differ. Do you understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
okay, well the brothers is on the corner, but if you go into the
Yes.
Italian neighborhoods, the brothers they on the corner. They on the corner. They go.
Yeah.
They have their little cafes. I'm not condoning brother slinging and stuff like that. But you feel what I'm saying? People congregate. Now we can't do that. Oh, you see a lot of
Right.
brothers together, a lot of sisters. We got
It's
to
a
be.
problem. Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
But this is our neighborhood. This is our hood. This is my hood. And I don't know. That's just my way of thinking. I just think that this desegregation, I get it. I understand, they wanted a piece of the American pie. You feel what I'm
No, they
saying?
want to be accepted by white people. That's what
They
that
want,
was.
but we're never going to be accepted by white people. We're never going to be accepted. As long as we get that in our heads that we have to first accept one another. How about
There
that?
you go. And that's a problem.
We don't even like each other.
Right.
That's a
Talk
problem.
about white folks.
Yeah, that's a problem. I
We're,
don't need to
well,
be. I
we're
don't need to be. I don't said this before. I don't need to be validated by and move. You know what I'm
exactly,
saying? I live in
exactly.
Atlanta for a reason. I live in Decatur for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's a black, it's black
Yes,
policemen and the whole and everybody. I don't have a problem living among my people. And you know what? The rest of the people are Jewish, but we the only ones. Jewish people, they like live with their folk. You got Little Italy, you got Little Vietnam, and a bunch of cities.
Right.
Uh, Chinatown. Everybody want to live with their folk. We the only ones still trying to continue to integrate with the white folk. And now they gentrifying cities because your behind moved out to the suburbs, and now they
hmm
gentrifying the city and driving the prices up so you can't run back behind them again and back to the
right,
city. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Because the rent is gonna be too high. You
It's
know,
gonna be
because
so high. Yep.
when we weren't coming to the city, they moved to the suburbs. Then we wanted to move out to the suburbs because they out there. Now they moving back to the city, so we got something y'all behind this time. We gonna gentrify the city because we want the city back. And if you can't afford to live here, then we ain't got to worry about you. Stay behind in the suburbs.
If we understood, if we
Right. Let me
understood
share.
how let me just say this. If we understood how rich we are, how wealthy we are as a people, as a nation of, if we understood what God has instilled in us, they all want to be like us. They want to
You
look
right?
like us. They want to talk like us. They want to cook like us. They want to wear our fashion. They want everything about us is fly. And all other, whether it's the Asians,
Yeah, all
whether
of them do.
it's, they all want to be like us. So it must be saying something. We must be the bomb, like for real.
Well, we
Like,
don't get it though. They know who
That's
we are, but we don't. You're right,
in a
Nat.
way.
They know who we are. Everybody else, and it's crazy because I'm like, I see this too, and I'd be like, okay, why? It's just like it's a big joke, and we ain't been let in on the joke. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody in a room, they whispering and stuff, and you left out. But the whispering is about you. It's about you, but it's not bad. It's like, look, you know, look, when black men walk into the room, or sister walk in the room, or how black women can fix their hair all kinds of different ways, different shades, different colors, different sizes, you know, variety, you know, smart, athletic. We got it all. But everybody else know it but us. It's like a big joke that we've been left out on, you know, that many of us that don't know been left out. It's crazy.
Curtis. Curtis, your comment?
Kurt,
You know, he's a little delayed. He'll catch it in a minute.
Okay.
there you go.
I
Your
just want to
comment?
add, you know, to what was already said, with as well as give, you know, a little brief testimony. I was living in the suburbs, I guess, but it was a 98% black community, and I had my kids with me. Was a single parent at the time, and it was a lady across the street that used to braid my children's hair, my girls' hair. And I think within that year, I started a business, which was a cleaning service. And I used to clean windows in the downtown area, as well as do some shampooing and carpeting and so forth and so on. And so the lady, one day I took my daughters over to get their hair braided, and she said, "I'm so proud of you. You made a stand. You didn't sell out." And I said, "What is that? What do you mean by that?" She said, "I'm proud of you because you stayed in the community." She said, "Here you are a young entrepreneur, black man, and you decided to stay in the community." And then I wanted her to go a little further because I really wasn't getting what she was trying to say. She was saying, because when people get where you are, they move where the white people are. They move into the white neighborhoods, and then what they're leaving behind, these are her exact words, and leaving our communities to the drug dealers, the prostitutes, and she went on, you know, ECT, and was like, now our youth don't have any role models. It's because when we overcome, or when we make it, was her exact words, we move out of the neighborhood and move into the white folk section, quote unquote. And I was like blown, is because I hadn't had any issues on moving, but she just kind of like encouraged me to continue to live there. Is because she had a daughter, and there was some kids next door that saw me, you know, with my work vehicle and my 3 or 4 employees that I had, and they used to come from time to time and may get some supplies or whatever, and we go out and go do our thing. And to her, it was a different picture from the dudes on the corner that was maybe 2 or 3 blocks up. She was like, now, so that way our kids at least have an option and go sell drugs. But here it is, Mr. Roundtree with his kids cleaning windows, you know what I mean, and staying in our neighborhood. So I got it, and I was like, okay. Now, and one time I shared this with someone, and they was like, yeah, but you know, they breaking in your stuff, and you know, knocking windows out, and you know, they're peeing in the, you know what I'm saying, the trash from this and that and all that. And I, you know, it took me time to kind of think about it and be like, well, what is the solution for that? I mean, do I put a fence up? Do I get cameras outside? Buy a gun? I mean, get top security so I can continue to live around my people and be safe. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to figure out what other solution would you tell people when you encourage them to stay in their community and don't, what she said, sell out. What would you, you know, when they say that? What, you know, when they say, you know, somebody kicked my door and stole my TV, brand new TV, just bought that TV. Somebody broke in my car, stole my stereo. What, you know what I'm saying? So you want to move into a neighborhood that you feel like your mess is not going to get broken, bottom line. So I was like, well, only thing I know is like I just said, beef up security, or I don't know. But no one thing is a solution for certain things. So it's accumulating over some many things that may solve that problem. Because one point they used to police our neighborhoods. What I mean by that is they used to walk the beat. Police officers used to walk the beat.
That's right.
And
That's
they
right.
got to know
Yeah.
the delinquents.
The
They got to
residents.
know who was the petty thieves. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? To be any artists or whatever,
The
jokers selling drugs,
the
whatever. They got to
drug
know
dealers.
and by name.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it came to the point. Right. Now it came to the point that, they might park a car. I call them dummies. They just take the vehicle right there as a diversion for they got to come back and get the car. So you never know when they're coming back.
Yeah.
Kind of like taking from walking the beat and securing our neighborhoods, from which that's the oath that you took to protect and serve. So I just want to share that with y'all because, and then I want to hear your thoughts in that.
Kurt,
What I just said.
go ahead, Rose.
I believe that I'm trying to figure out when that switch clicked off. The unity that we once had in the 70s, and a little bit on into the 80s. I'm trying to figure out when did those things switch. And I don't know if it was because of the amount of drugs they pumped into the neighborhoods, or was it because we started to progress and were able to, like you said, move out and leave that stigma that we had made amongst ourselves that, Black people are bad, or all Black people are don't want anything, so I'm going to move out to, I don't know where that started from. The pride that we used to have in our culture in this, in the 60s and 70s, we begin to lose it in the mid 80s and 90s.
No.
And a lot of people attribute it to the drug use, but we had heroin during the 60s and 70s. So I'm trying to figure out, was it welfare? Was it the drugs? Was it because we did begin to progress? We were able to take certain jobs. We stopped being maids and trained pulleymen and working in the fields. We were starting to go and get educations. We started getting better positions. And I wonder, the struggle kept us humble. The struggle kept us unified. The struggle kept us having pride for ourselves. And if you notice that the more we progress, the less unified we are, and we don't have as much pride. We're beginning to get that back, but we lost a lot of that. So it's just like when you raise a child, each generation we raise our child better and better, where they can have more things, actually, not better. But we don't put as much responsibility on our children. They don't have to work as hard as we work, and things like that. And I wonder, is that the issue? That
No.
Okay.
They did
no. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, all right, remember before, when you had families, before they did things to break the family up,
Yes.
they deindustrialized communities because you could get a job, in a certain skill. Then they deindustrialized the high schools. Remember, they had shop in high school, Kurt.
Home
We all
ec.
remember, right?
Home ec.
You could leave high school a licensed plumber,
Right.
or carpenter, like Miss Ellis say. Like, there's skills that actually pay the bills. Masons, brick masons, and whatnot. You can leave school with that license because they taught it in high school.
Right.
So what they did industrialize our communities. Then they took the trades out of high school. Then they put the crack in. See, because what they had to do was castrate us economic wise, right? And then put the drugs in. Because folks frustrated, they create the economic conditions. So when they put the crack in, then that would just do us in. That broke our families up and stuff like that. Before then, you still had a lot of, you didn't have like a lot of women that, that were single parents, you know what I'm saying? Like they do now, because they had a man that could provide. So they had to economically castrate black men. You know what I'm saying? So our women,
Right.
they couldn't depend on us. Look, look at
Exactly.
Rose.
Right.
D and Dominic dad he owns a business. He owns his own landscape business. Always have. He owns his own thing. But he's few and far between. Look at what a lot of other cats do. They can't get a job. Everybody not meant to go to college. You know what I'm saying? So they deindustrialized the neighborhoods and
Right.
took the trades out of school. That's one thing. And then they put the crack in. Cause before then we had a sense of community. Everybody looked out for each other kids. You
That's
were
right.
raised a certain way that you no matter
Mm-hmm.
even if it was an adult that woke your mama or daddy, you respected them. They don't have none of that these days. No sense of community. Oh, you don't tell my child because they knew they had to. Listen, we gotta let them progress a little bit because that'll break the unity up. Right now, everybody poor, and everybody was the same,
Right.
economic wise. We were working and surviving, you know, but then you had the desegregation of in and stuff. Like, Lord, we just all we want to do is be able to go eat at a lunch counter. Well, you can eat
Mm-hmm.
at your own lunch counter. We had our own. We had a strong economic base, stronger than what we got today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Own bus companies, own movie theaters. You know what I'm saying? We were straight. We were good. But then that, like Robert said, the progress. Okay, we gotta make it so a few of them can, you know, it was the ones that saw the bigger picture against the ones who didn't see the bigger picture. Like white folks, they don't want us living next to them
No.
for a lot of reasons. The main reason is because of who we are. But why should that be
Right.
something that you strive for when we should just strive for having our own strong community? You know what I'm saying? That's why I like living here because it ain't perfect because ain't no perfect situation. But Atlanta and the 10 county area I live in, it's a progressive city. You know what I'm saying? You have black people that are making decisions.
Right. Yeah.
Like Atlanta City Council is one white dude on there, and he represent Buckhead, the bougie. Buckhead's supposed to be bougie, but they ain't got enough money to separate from the city of
Uh,
Atlanta and become their own city.
I
You
used to
know what I'm
work in
saying? They can't.
Buckhead.
They're supposed to be rich now, but they can't get off the city. They can't get off Atlanta. They still need Atlanta for services like water and gas and everything else. So that's them. Like you had other cities that like Sandy Springs, Stonecrest, they have went and branched off and got they doing their own thing. But they they have black mayors, they have black city councils, and they have people in positions to make decisions. It ain't always good, but it ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? And you have people here like we're in what's that? Ostel, not Sandy Spring. It's where your daughter live at, Nat.
Oh, and Little Springs.
Yeah, Lithia Springs. She live in Lithia
Mm-hmm.
Springs
Yes.
in a nice house, nice neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
did you see any white people when you were down there?
Not a one.
Oh, okay, that's my point.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Not
can
one.
live nice. You can live nice, and you can live in a neighborhood with manicured lawns where people cut
Yes.
their grass, and they not white. Case closed.
Let
Okay, who
let
want to
me
go
interject.
next?
Let me
Hmm.
say this that what often the issue is with living in the inner city is that is not a community, it's a hood
Mm-hmm.
because they take uh the bank, they've taken the bank, our schools are not up to par. We don't have the economic structure in the hood.
Hmm. Right.
That's what makes the difference between living in the hood and living in a black
Right.
community, or living in a
Mm-hmm.
community. And oftentimes here in
Community.
Newark,
Right.
that we have suffered
Right.
because our elected officials
Sold
get
those out.
in the bed with the white folk
Mm-hmm. Sell outs.
and they sell out.
That's
Sometimes they
right.
end up getting caught. They end up going to jail.
Yes.
They end
Mm-hmm.
up, doing a lot of things, and we suffer. Our schools suffer. Our stores
Yeah.
close,
Yeah.
our businesses close, and everything. However, I really believe that uh, if we decide that we can love each other and live with each other, we can have a self-sustaining. We could be self-sustaining.
Yeah.
We could be self-sustaining. We don't have to have the white man to feed us, to clothe us, master this, master that, because that's the way I look at it. You know, we
Right.
can do our own thing. We can live. We can live. We could be born. We can live, and we can die
Shoot.
in around our folks, around our people. You
Yeah.
feel me? And we have the structure. If it ain't a church and a liquor store and a Chinese store in the hood, in my hood, on just about every block, then we should be able to take we should be able to have our own restaurant. You feel me? The churches need to take some of that tithe and offering out of the bank and
And do something with it.
stop do something with it. Stop babying the pastors
Mm-hmm.
and cushion their lives when they
Mm-hmm.
could put it into the community.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
God
There you
gonna get
go.
him. I'm telling you.
Right.
Put
You
it
should
into
support
the
them. Yeah, God, go
community.
get them. Yeah, God, go get them.
It's
I
not
agree.
fair. It's not right. We should
Oh,
not have to have welfare. As much as we go to
Nat,
church, sing and shout and speak in tongues, we should not have to have welfare. I should be
Nat.
able to go when I need help. I
Mm,
should be able to go to any given
yeah,
church, Larry, and
yeah,
get whatever I need.
yeah, yeah. Well, the last episode, I revealed that TD Jakes is net worth is $147 million,
Oh my
but he
God.
ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing in any black community. I
No.
don't know. He might have done something in West Virginia where he's from, but he's not. He don't come out and speak against nothing nothing that's going on with us. You know what I'm saying? 147. He's the second richest. And now the first richest preacher is from Nigeria. You know, Rose talking about the
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm like the richest, the richest preacher in the world is from that. Matter of fact, the top three, the in the top five richest preachers in the world, three of them are from Nigeria. I was like,
Yes.
oh, okay, but piggyback on what you were saying that they collect millions of dollars on every Sunday,
Millions of
but they
dollars.
don't do anything. Like
Nothing.
what to me, what make up a community? You got to have a bank, you got to
That's
have a
right.
hospital,
A
and at least a
hospital.
grocery store.
That's right.
Because you know what food deserts is, right? Y'all know what a food desert is. Is where you have to travel a good ways out of your community to get to a grocery store where
Right.
you can get fresh
Right.
vegetables and stuff like that. You know, we shouldn't have none of that. If you going, if they are collecting all that money on Sunday, they need to put it back into the community. Open
Put
up
it
a
back in.
bank. Yeah, open up a
Exactly.
bank so people can get loans and start businesses in their own community. They're not doing nothing though. So along with politicians, you should support the ministers that's not gonna do
Exactly.
nothing. Cause folks think gonna pay their way to heaven. You can't pay your
Listen,
way to heaven.
it's more, brother. It's more than giving out toys at Christmas.
And a
Uh,
turkey.
It's
oh,
more. It's more. Come from behind the pulpit.
Turkeys. Turkeys and toys.
Come from behind the pulpit and do some real work. Now, in the civil rights movement, I have to
Mm-hmm.
say, if prior to that, the church was the center of the community. That's
Yes.
where they met. That's where the slaves, the railroad, everything ran through the church. The church
Mm-hmm.
played an integral part in
Yeah.
our survival. Now you become a millionaire. It's a country club. It's totally, and I get it in a sense where we need somewhere to go to shine and look good and wear our hats and shoes. I get that. You feel me? But when it
Yeah.
comes down to the real work, I should not be hungry. My lights or any of my neighbors' lights should not go off. You should not have to go down and get no rental assistance And I'm talking about these are people, and it's not just poor people, because working class people, and there's no middle class, but working class
No.
people, everybody get in a bind from time to time. You feel what I'm saying? And not just that, there should be
That's right,
scholarships.
Natalie.
There should be scholarships.
Right.
You feel me? There should be, okay, you want to drive?
Yes.
Okay, you need a car? Okay, we're going to all pool. Anybody who needs a car should have a vehicle that belongs to. But the churches, they just getting fat, full, and full of crap. And that's all I have to say.
And they the new FBI. Because they also get money from, they're getting a faith-based initiative. They get that from the government.
And then nonprofit.
And they nonprofits, they get that money,
all
and they get that hush money. That's why they don't come out. That's why they don't come out for issues in their own community. Like Creflo Dollar Church, he's on Old National Highway. I know exactly what World Changes Ministry is in.
Yes,
because I drive and I drop people off over there. You know what I'm saying? World Changes Ministry. Now, it's in an area that because Old National Highway, that's not a rich area. His church is in an area that could use a facelift. I mean, it ain't poor, but it's not an affluent. It's not an affluent area, and he could do some good with his 2 Rolls Royces. That's excess.
And private planes.
Yeah, private planes is the Nigerian dude. That's the number 1 richest preacher in the world. He has several private jets. He has more than 2. I was like, okay. Nah, man, you're right. God gonna get them, man. Because to whom much is given, much is required.
Much is required. So our church, dear Rose, Larry, Kurt, the church is going to be held accountable and should be held accountable. And who needs to hold them accountable? We need to hold them accountable.
Sure do.
We need to hold them accountable.
But Nat, like some of the folks that Rose is talking about, like that's all they know is going to church on Sunday and voting Democrat.
Yes.
You're not gonna tell them. You're not gonna tell them that they can't. It's like this. I feel like they feel like if their pastor is prosperous, then they are.
Yes.
You know, and he has a direct line to God, so he should have the finest. My pastor drive a Cadillac. I mean, it's just I'll be thinking like, really?
It's that the most backward thinking? and you know what it comes. It has to be growth. You know, I was born and raised. My grandmother raised me in church. I get it. I understand. But it has to be growth. We have to come out of this backward thinking.
There you go.
Feel me? We have to come. We gotta wake up. It's backwards. It's backwards. We have to wake up. We have to read. We have to think. I don't know why people think that God gonna strike us down if we think. If we ask questions.
There you go. Oh yeah.
That's
you being high-minded.
Yes.
You being high-minded. Nat, you being high-minded. Don't be high-minded now.
I mean, that is just the most ludicrous. You understand? But it's just these are the tools. Segregation. We're the most segregated nation on Sunday morning.
Oh yeah.
We're the most segregated. Black folks worship with their folk. White people worship with their folk. Now they do have the churches that you'll see sprinkles.
Yeah,
white and black,
non-denominational
sprinkles. However, but they going today. Trust me, when church turns out, the white folks going to their area and the black folks going to their area. You feel me? You know, so, but I really believe that if we can have our own churches, and we can have our own everything. We can have, if we could worship only black people, you know, or people of color, we can have our own banks. We can have our own supermarkets. You know, we can have these things, hospitals. Right. We can have, you know, and we are educated. We're smart. We're bright at every level. What I've learned that everybody's not going to be a doctor. Everybody's not going to be a lawyer. Everybody's not going to be a candlestick maker. Everybody's not going to be a baker. But there is some place for all of us in society. There is some place God has placed in each of us what we need to be productive, you know, and live and thrive.
Right.
And I believe that if we just value one another, value ourselves, you know, that it's okay to live your neighbor to be black. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to buy
It's
black.
okay. I mean, it ain't gonna
It's
kill you.
okay.
Either you ain't gotta be best friends with them or
No,
nothing. If they don't do that, but throw their hand up or every now and then, and you throw your hand up, it's
that's
all
it.
good. I
It's
rather
all
I rather
good.
live like that next to my brother than wondering if I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night. Okay, the house that I own in Raleigh, I had to stay out on my back porch because uh my back porch, a house is cat corner
Hmm.
diagonal to my backyard. I won't say backyard. Cause my yard fits in the back. So we will leave the back light on.
Right.
These folks that lives over there, like I said, diagonal to my yard, they didn't have
Hmm.
no curtains up, no blinds or curtains or nothing.
Hmm.
So me having the back porch light on was bothering. Instead of him coming around like a man saying that, look, you know, could you not burn your light at night, or at least ask? I would have said no, that you need to put some curtains and blinds up, but you know, so
Hmm.
they were coming and taking my light out, coming in my yard on my property,
Oh wow.
taking my light out my backyard. So once I found out, I stood in the backyard. It was a Sunday. It was quiet. I said, "Let me catch your ass in my yard again. I'm gonna put a hot one in you." And I know they went and asked the I know they went and asked told Raleigh PD what I said, but they probably was like, "Well, you go on that man's property, taking his light
Uh-huh.
out of his back porch. He put a hot one in you. I can't do nothing for you." You know what I'm saying? So I'd
Yeah.
rather live next to my own folk. You know what I'm saying? That we may not be best friends. We may
Right.
just wave, how you doing, Merry Christmas, or Happy New
Right.
Year, or Happy Easter, or whatever, and that's it. Then live among somebody that's on coming on my property doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Curtis.
I said, I'm gonna put a
Right.
hot. I said, let me
You
catch
got
you over
Right.
here.
something to say?
That's a good point.
I said, let me
Yeah.
catch you over here again. I'll put a hot one in.
That's a good point. Hey, listen.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do know about our people, and I'm talking about our people in a whole, because like you said, some of us have not arrived and we don't have them 20 to 50 years to get it together. But I do know that we are resilient, we are
Hmm.
loyal, and we
Yes.
Yes.
have patience.
You better
Yes.
preach,
Because we
preacher.
are resilient, loyal, and have
Those the last
and
one.
have patience, we have been dealing with these issues for a
Excuse me.
very long time. Been
Yes,
using
we
what we
have.
have. We've been using living below our means. We've been
Yep.
Yes.
taking from Peter to pay Paul, squeezing oils out of a penny, making $1 out of 15 cents.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? And you know what I'm saying? And it's obvious that we can take nothing and make something out of it.
Something.
And
And
that's
that's
how
the
we
We've
fear.
always
get
done
by.
that.
And I know
And that's the
we
fear.
chameleons.
Yep.
I know that,
Yeah.
as we adapt, as times change, we adapt.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we don't get, reparation and some of these other things, it's not going to stop us. We still are a
No.
force to be reckoned with in our own right. That's what I want to say.
And that is the fear. And that is
That's why they
the
don't want us to
Right.
get. That's why they don't want us to have reparations, because it's about $14
we
trillion.
don't even
Yes,
need
yes.
reparations.
You
We
know what
don't even
I'm
really
saying?
need
You're
No,
reparations.
we
right.
need.
You're
Because
right.
No,
we
But
can make
you're
no.
right.
out of
I
something.
disagree. We need reparations. If they could give reparations to the Japanese,
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah,
if
you're
they
right
could
about
give
that. Hell no.
reparations to the Jews and everybody else,
Yep.
we
You're right
need
about
our
that.
reparations
We
Yep.
because
do
we
need it.
need.
We may need it, but it's not going to break us if we don't get it. That's my point.
I agree. We need it. I agree with that.
I'll tell you
We
what.
may need it, but it's not going to stop us. We still gonna
But
rock and roll.
We
We
right,
still
have
gonna
learned
but
how
then
to.
don't.
still gonna
But
make a
here's what I
billion.
say: don't help your elected officials help some other so help. Don't vote people in that's not gonna help you. Say if we
That's
don't need it.
right.
Say if we don't get it, then we should spend our money differently. The $2 trillion that we do have, we need to spend it differently. And we shouldn't vote people in that's gonna help somebody else that's not gonna help you for
Right.
sitting in the office.
Of
You know
course.
what I'm
That's what
Of
saying?
we
course
need to
not.
work
Right.
on for the next
Right. Of
elections
course
and
not.
the next
Hmm.
midterm elections. We need to work
Yeah,
on
yeah. Not showing up.
whoever
If
our
they don't come up with something that I can see, I set out this last one. I'll be sitting this one out too. So they come up with something. No, nothing free. And that's what it is.
Right.
We loyal. Like y'all say we loyal. We've been loyal to the Democratic Party all this time. And they've been doing what they want to do. It's over.
Exactly.
The jig
That's
is
right.
up. The
The
jig is
jig
up.
is up. Yep.
The jig is up. And they
I
know it too,
agree.
because I listen to media and stuff, and they
Right.
saying like they call us the
The jig
woke.
is up.
The woke folks is we're gonna have problems with them. So they're essentially saying that after this stunt right here, they're not they're not gonna be getting full participation.
Nope.
They'll get the civil right. They'll probably get some of them.
Yeah,
Because
I
they
think they know
just
that too, Larry.
they
They'll get
know
the
it's coming.
seniors.
It's coming. They get the
I,
seniors,
I
but
think they know
Yep.
that too, Larry, and that's the fear.
they won't. Yeah, but they in
Uh,
for it.
Yep, that's the fear
They
that
in
they
for it.
have. The
They
jig
now
is
because
up.
they're smart. They plan
They
ahead,
know the jig is up.
so they already got their people picked. They said, "Well, we need you to go," and they getting turned down. They said, "Look, man, let's say for instance, Jesse Jackson, the millennials and Generation Z, they already told him that he don't represent them. They
That's
already
right.
right,
handled him. The old
right.
civil rights legacy, civil rights people, they already told him, they said, you go holler at my granddaddy. He might have something for you, but we ain't got nothing for you. You know. So they know they know what time it is. They know. They know it's coming, and I'm real curious about how
Right.
they are going to
No,
spend this.
I agree.
I am curious on like what can you say to clean this up, to clean this mess that y'all have made up. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny.
I
It's,
just wanted to say, on the first when we first came on, it kind of came to me that this country wasn't built for us anyway.
oh, we built it.
We built it, but it wasn't built
Mhm.
for us.
No, it
That's
wasn't.
right.
It was
It
built for
wasn't.
the white people, white aristocrats from England.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They came here. It was built for them, for their
Yes.
religious, air quotes, religious freedom.
Hmm.
Right.
It was built for them.
Right.
It was never built for
Right.
us. Now, those of us that was here, and you hear what I
Never.
said, those of us
Never.
that was already here,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
already here, because we were already, some of us was already
yeah,
Go
here.
yeah.
ahead on.
You
Go ahead
you
on.
understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
However, the ones that was taken and was sold and came through the Middle Passage and came over on the ships, it was never intended. This
Ever, ever, ever.
structure of these Americas was
No, it
never
won't.
intended for us. So
Right.
we're always trying to
Right.
break in. We're always trying to fit in where we don't
And
Right.
never will.
and never will.
Right.
And I
With the
think when we
masses.
can get that, yes, I think when we can get it in our head that, okay, it's not, look, all right,
It's just us.
it's just us.
Right.
Now what can we do? So the Jay-Z's and the Beyonce's and all those rappers and entertainers who have made millions and billions of dollars now can pour back. If they can come, look, we're going to do this. How can we put back into the community the rich pastors and those who have, made investments in different things, the Oprahs and all those, if they can come, those who have the wealth, those who have the resources, You feel what I'm saying? If they
Mm-hmm.
could come together and we can build something, you know, because it's only a small percentage of them, and it's a lot of us. You
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you know, it's only a
Right.
small percentage
But
of
look what
them.
they did to Ice Cube. When Ice Cube offered it, see, that's when we act the way we acted with him.
Yeah.
That's going to deter a lot of wealthy entertainers or
Uh-huh.
athletes
Yeah.
or whatever that have money, because
Hmm.
they treated that man the way they did him. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
right. It
Yeah.
wasn't right, and he was trying to stick up for us. But
Right.
then you had that generation. You had that generation
Yeah.
against him
Yeah.
because he young. He younger.
Yes, he is.
He in our age
Hmm.
group, but he
Right.
younger. You know,
Right.
try to tell
Hmm.
that man he won't know. He was like, "Don't do that." It's like instead of us, he was trying to have us to come from a position of strength. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Look, we're not gonna vote for you unless we get this, and this. Can we get? No, you can't get it. But just vote, because they just want us to stay in line and keep putting them in office. Boy, it's over. Now that right, they got it this time. I believe it'll never happen again for them.
I believe the solution is like you said, Larry, that we need to go back to when um we were unified and we um made our own wealth. We had our own banks.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
started spending our money amongst our own black owned businesses.
Yeah,
We stayed in our communities. We
yeah,
strengthened our communities. We
yeah,
had our own newspapers,
yeah.
theaters,
Theater.
hotels.
Yeah, we need to go back.
Instead of now that we see that we're not going to have anybody to lobby for us for our rights, for better reparation or whatever, let's go back to being unified and keeping our money amongst ourselves and build
I'm with
our
you.
strength, our wealth, and our strength that way.
Yeah,
Because I
I'm with
don't
you.
believe, like Curtis said, there is not going to be a politician that's going to be able to take us to where we want to go. We're going to have to go back square one and do it like they did it. Some things from the olden days will work, where we spend our money amongst each other, we make
Yeah,
our own businesses, and we stay
Hmm.
in our own communities.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's going to work.
Yeah, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Durham, North Carolina.
That's the
They
perfect
call them Black
blueprint,
Wall Streets, man.
right?
That's
That's the
right.
perfect blueprint for Black America come in the future. To me,
Cause, what upsets me, I posed this question the last time we was on. I was
mm-hmm.
like, how could they have done what they did with all these Black Wall Streets? They were less educated than we are now. They didn't have all the technology that we have and all the information. They just stood together and built their own. And I'm talking about everybody want rich,
No.
but everybody had a job. If you wanted to work,
Hmm.
you could work. And then the cats that was businessmen, man, they were balling out of control and want all that hate. You know what I'm saying? Now
Because
get back
everybody
to
was
what
living well.
Yeah,
Everybody
'cause
was happy.
everybody could live and not be hungry, or if you wanted to buy
Yeah.
a car, you could.
You
You
can
know,
have what you need. And
yeah,
Right.
that's the other thing about living in the hood. Oftentimes it's crime because people don't have what they need.
yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
And people don't get that. They don't get that.
They don't
You,
get
you
it. You're right, Nat.
they don't get it. They don't get it. When you don't have what you need, you don't have many options.
That's
You feel
right.
me? You can't go into a bank. You can't get a loan. You can't get a credit card online. You can't, you don't have friends that or family that can look out for you in certain because they're in
Right.
the same position,
In the
perhaps.
same position you in, yeah,
You
that's right.
understand? So what do? You turn to crime or
That's
you
right.
turn to swinging.
That's so
You
true.
turn to, sex work, whatever it is that you can do.
Yeah.
You feel me? And that's the way I look at. I never felt unsafe living in my own neighborhood. Never. I never felt unsafe because I felt like if somebody tried to rob me, I would give it to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? That I would
Yeah,
give it to them because it's a reason.
evidently
It's
they
a
need it.
reason. Evidently, they're going to buy drugs. Okay, well, they hooked. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, but it's a reason why there is crime. It's a reason. And there's crime in the white neighborhood. It's just a different type of crime,
Yeah,
but
they
there's
don't publish.
crime.
Yeah,
They cut up too.
Yeah.
You feel me? They cut up too. But everything is just over amplified for us. You feel me?
Yeah,
Everything is over amplified.
yeah,
But I really do
Right.
agree with you both. Is that
Right.
it's about us
Yeah.
becoming self-sufficient.
Mm. We have the
Self-sufficient.
money. We have the money. We just got to have the will. And then I look at kids. I look at parents. It's like I'm like, there's nothing resembles how we grew up. There's nothing resemble. I see nothing because I drive. I've driven in more than one city, Boston and here, and I be like, not this the aesthetics or way things are placed and the way things look. It's just
Right.
like communities aren't, and even here, it's just different. Where no, here you have people who have businesses and money. You have affluent people. You have they're possibly a middle class. You have a lot of people here that own businesses and stuff. But I'm talking about as far as communities are, where people look out for one another.
Right.
hmm
Or your kid doing something wrong, you can say
Yes.
something or whatever. That part is missing. And then there's so many single
Right.
mothers.
So
Right.
many.
Right.
Too
Because I
many.
get people from the grocery store, right?
Right.
And it may be a guy, a single dude like maybe myself that catch a ride from the grocery store home. But when I pull up and there's a cart full, it's rarely. I might get maybe out of 20 people that I pick up from the grocery store, it may be one that's a couple. I can tell it's a couple. I'm like, okay, they're a couple, they together or whatever. And they went to grocery shopping. For the most part, single mothers. They may have kids with them, then they don't have kids with them. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's like we went
Right.
away from our ways. And we went away from our ways because we got a little progress. Like Rose said,
Yep,
we forgot.
yeah.
Once we got a
We
little
forgot.
progress,
hmm
now it's a thing where we don't need each other. Now, when we ain't have nothing, and we related to each other different. See what I'm
Yeah,
saying? We relate because you ain't never know when you have to borrow some sugar or a cup of flour or something
That's
like
that's
that.
right.
right.
You know. Now we brand new. That's our issue is we think to the point now
Right.
we don't need each other.
And
That's
it's
right.
to the
But
point. Mm-hmm.
the way things are going,
Mm-hmm.
if they don't see, like Rose said, people they're oblivious. They think because they have material things that
Right.
that it's not going to be pulled from up from under them in any second. When really that's the case. And they're
Yeah,
going to be surprised, like, what went wrong? What went wrong was you on your game. You thinking about yourself, and you're not
yeah.
thinking about your
But
community or people around you. Come on
that's
now.
right.
We
It's like
have
the
2 minutes.
pandemic. Okay.
We have 2 minutes. Everybody get your last
Yeah.
comments in. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Natalie.
No, I was going to say the pandemic. You know, COVID-19 is it should have been a wake up call, really, for us. When we was on lockdown.
Right.
And people had to turn within themselves and figure out things, and
Hmm.
how to make things work, and what to do, and how to, not that we weren't eating and stuff like that, but
hmm
things was a little tight. You had to fit to to things you could get back on track. But
Hmm.
Right.
that was to me an example, that we should return. The scripture talks about in their songs, gospel, return to your first love. And I think that we should return to each other. We should return to community. We should
Yes.
return, just return, because it's going to be a time, where things are going, that we really
We won't have a
need each
choice.
other. We won't have a
Yeah.
choice.
It's coming, and
Curtis.
we're gonna have a choice.
Curtis, you got a last comment
Yeah. I was just
before we
gonna
close out?
right. Yes, I was just gonna say that we we have a long way to go, but we have covered a lot of ground. And
Hmm.
the promised land is near. We just got to keep pushing. That's all. Keep one another lifted up in prayer. help one another when you can, and you know, sometimes when you can't, you know, maybe we should. And one thing I know is, as we know better, we'll do better. That's my final thoughts.
Right. Awesome. Larry?
I'll just say, I have a sense of urgency. It's like there's a there's a difference between being pressed and having a sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, because if you keep up with current events, and we should cover we need to cover that subject about the reduction of the white population, because that's something that's important. you know, and
Awesome.
I guess maybe the next time we get together, we do need to cover that, because that's something that we need to talk about. But I have a sense of urgency. I really believe that it's the point. I believe that, like Rose was saying, that people don't know how worse it is because everybody in their own, doing their own thing. Now, they just lifted, they just tried to, they had a moratorium on people so they could live with, basically rent free and not be put out. Some places are extending it. Like, I think here in the cab, they I don't know who was it. Somebody extending it for another 2 months, and maybe Congress will come and extend it. But
CDC.
yeah,
CDC
cause they say
helped extend it
yeah,
to October
yeah,
3rd. Yeah.
right, because you can't put people out on the street in the middle of a pandemic because it's already spreading and stuff like that. But that's eventually eventually that's gonna end, you know, because there's money over everything, So
Right.
I have a sense of urgency. If you keep up with current events about what's things that's going on and certain decisions they're making, then when it comes to our people that we should have a sense of urgency.
Right.
And and I don't mean like, move without thinking or make ill-advised decisions. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do like we're doing. This is basically a think tank. You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
this is what it is. Just a think tank, and we thinking, and this message is gonna go out to people. A lot of people, just like the last one did, and people. Hopefully, someone will be touched by our conversation, and
Exactly.
hopefully it'll catch on. And the good cool part about it is there's other
Right.
platforms.
I
There's other
hope so. It's
platforms
my
on
prayer.
YouTube that I listen to. I listen to mostly people that talk like we do, that are progressive and actually want to see our people not only free but safe. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? We don't want to be to a point where we're dependent where people could just do all kinds of matter of evil in addition to what we always are already doing to ourselves. So I just have a sense of urgency about that, and I'm thankful that we can get together and chop it up the way we do. Um,
Awesome.
hmm
I thank you all guys for being here. Okay, so that is the end of part 2 of
yeah.
why the fear of the black race. I think we covered a lot of issues, positive and negative. I think we covered several solutions. I think we covered people that should be um, concerned about the plight of the black race, of those that are not, those that are benefiting from us, off the sweat of our brow and off the money of our pockets. And like we said, everybody plays a part. Well, I think one of you all said, "To whom much is given, much is required." We're all going to
Mhm.
be required to put in a lot of our effort to make things better for ourselves. I believe in what Curtis said earlier about politicians are not our answer. Our answer is within ourselves, like Natalie said, unifying, like Larry said, having a sense of urgency to get back together once again and do it the way that we know was a proven way that it worked, which was to be self-sufficient, to take care of ourselves, to have our own banks, our own grocery stores,
Mhm.
stay in our own neighborhoods, spend black. because and stop wanting to be validated by other cultures. We are the
Yep.
most innovative people on earth. We can do anything. They already say that we're superhuman. They say we're superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
In the trial of George Floyd, the lawyer for the um, Floyd family had to say that Black people are not superhumans. Stop thinking that it's something different about us. That goes to show you
Mm-hmm.
that that is some of the fear of why they don't like the Black race. They think we're
Mm-hmm.
superhuman. You know why? Because of all of the things that we talked about tonight, we have endured, like Curtis
Yeah.
said. We have endured those things. We have endured the experiments and the way that doctor experimented on Black women with no anesthesia.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are tough. We are resilient. We are all of those things. But we have to know that we are. We have to know that we are who we are and that we deserve better and that we give ourselves better. We don't need validation from anyone else. All we need to do is unify, have a sense of urgency, and know that amongst ourselves we can do it, guys. So I do want to continue having these types of think tanks, continue having these types of conversations. There are many solutions. There are many hands that need to be put to the plow to get us back to where I believe that we should go before
The
things
two.
just I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we've been on 2 hours and a half. I will be making sure I have everybody's email in the description. I hope you all enjoy. For those of doing the replay, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. Ring that bell so you know that we're on again. And I do appreciate you guys, each and every one of you coming out. I hope we can do this soon. We can always get back on and talk about any topic that you want. Maybe we could come to some of your other channels as well.
Yeah.
I am
Mm-hmm.
more than open to coming to your
Oh
channel,
yeah.
Larry, and do the same thing. So all I got to do is
Cool.
invite
Yeah.
you, let me know. And
Awesome.
I really enjoyed you guys so much. Thank you for
Yes.
One
coming
more
out.
thing.
Okay, go ahead.
One more.
Please
Like you
do.
Enjoyed
said, you
you
gonna let
there,
us all
Rose.
Okay,
identify
yes,
ourselves and leave
yeah,
it.
go ahead and give your information again, like you did at the top of the show. Larry, you can go
Okay.
ahead and give.
Once again, my name of my YouTube channel is the L Boogie Speaks 2 Show. I also have a podcast on Spotify, which is Listen to L Boogie. My email address is Larry Roundtree without the D Junior at gmail.com. I love you all, and I hope that we should learn to love each other. Next.
Awesome, Natalie.
Hi. Yes, I enjoyed you guys so much. Um, I'm Desserts by Natalie. I'm located in Newark, New Jersey. Um, I am your neighborhood baker. I am an entrepreneur. So if you need an old fashioned cake, if you need a pie, hit me up, dessertsbynatalie at gmail.com. Also, I am Natalie Hunter, Godbolt on Facebook. You could go up there, you could see a lot of what I do. And also Desserts by Nat on IG. And thanks for having me, dear
You're
Rose.
welcome. Curtis.
Kurt.
Thank you once again for having me, dear Rose. Always enjoy the show. Looking forward to it. My name is Curtis Roundtree. I am on YouTube, Curtis Roundtree TV. Make sure you like, subscribe if you to my. I have a cooking show on Facebook, which is We and Again. We take some the dollar store goods and we make cuisine out of it. To check that out. And if you want to email me, it's curtisroundtree at hotmail.com. Instagram is I am Curtis Roundtree1. And y'all enjoy y'all evening.
All
See
right.
y'all
Good
later.
night, Smooches.
Good night.
Deuces.
Mm.